Yo. What up? What up, Facebook? What up, YouTube? What's going on, guys? Okay, I wanted to hop on here and I want to ask you a question. Is your dream bigger than your excuse? Or are you hiding in denial? Okay, are you hiding in denial? You know, this is a very, very interesting topic, guys, and I'm just going to give it to you straight here today, okay? A lot of people say that they have a dream, and it's complete bullshit. Complete bullshit, okay? Now, Martin Luther King said, I have a dream, okay? But it's not actually the truth, okay? The dream had him, and there's a big difference. Okay, I want you to really think about this concept on today's Facebook and YouTube Live. Okay, because what I'm going to tell you is that whatever excuse that you have, okay, the money excuse, the time excuse, the kids excuse, whatever, it's all complete bullshit. Okay, and the truth is, you don't have a dream. You don't have a dream. And that's the problem. That is the problem. Because when you really get emotionally connected to your dream, it actually pulls you forward into the future reality. And the blockers, the barriers, they fold, literally. They fold, right? So there's nothing that can stop you. You literally become like RoboCop. So, you know, a lot of people will use the money is the excuse, okay? And then they hear a story about a guy that was completely homeless that got into millionaire mentoring and pursued his dream, and now he's the CEO of his own MLM company. Okay, so how can you explain that? Okay, so or the couple that was 2 days with no water and an eviction notice with 6 children. How do you explain that? Or the couple that was donating blood to buy groceries. How do you explain that? Do you see what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with all the things that you say that it does. And I call that hiding in denial. Hiding in denial. So the truth is, guys, is that you really don't have a dream. That's really what it comes down to, is that you've never actually sat down with a pen and paper and figured it out on what exactly is it that you want. As simple as that is. What exactly do you want? Because everything can be broken down. Doesn't matter what it is, right? Now, here's the bizarre thing, okay? Here's the bizarre thing, because it's an abundant universe, just so you know, lacks an illusion, okay? It's completely abundant, and we all have access to universal abundance. Now, the difference between somebody that's in the zone and out of the zone, somebody that's in the zone, their abundance flow is open, like there's no dam in their river. The river of abundance is flowing through them. And somebody where their dam is shut, right? What happens is that you're basically a rock in the river, okay? And you're going to get pummeled. You will get pummeled by the Whitewater Rapids, and until you finally reach a breaking point and you draw a line in the sand, you say, I will no longer stand for this reality any longer. This is why I tell people that in the home-based business industry, just so you know, there's only 2 types of people that ever get into our industry, ever. Okay, they're either in a state of transition in their life, or they've reached such a breaking point that they finally draw a line in the sand. Those are the people that go to the top. So whatever your situation, okay, whether it's the homeless thing, the kid, I mean, heck, the one couple had 6 children, 2 days with no water and an eviction notice, but yet they could find the money. What was different about them? Think about this, guys. Think about this. Whatever your excuse is, doesn't matter what your excuse is, right? It's the, well, I just lost my job. Oh, you don't understand, Darren. $50,000 in the hole in credit card debt. Well, Pornthip was $55,000 in the hole. She's already made 300 grand. Okay, so what now? You see what I'm saying? Billy Inalus was maxed out credit cards. He lost everything, and he was washing cars, but he made 140 grand his first year. Now he owns his own music business. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a lie. It's a flat out lie. You're telling yourself these lies when every single situation, oh, it's my student loan, Darren. Oh, I can't, go for my dream. It's not that. It's that you don't have a dream. That's the problem. This is the problem, guys. You're hiding in denial. Okay, you're hiding in denial. James, welcome, sir. Welcome. Rita, how are you today? Great to see you here. We've got Chris Napa. What is up? What is up? We got James Mike Brown. What's up? What's up? What's going on? Darren and Ryan. Darren is in the house. What's up? What's up? Thanks for reaching out today, Ryan. I appreciate you. Pierre is live tuning in. Thank you. Thank you. Kelly says, I love the title. Awesome. I appreciate you. Little hello from Pierre. What's up, Pierre? Hey, Kimberly, what's going on, girl? Been watching some of your makeup videos with the spray and stuff. They're highly entertaining, I might add. And you got like massive engagement. Standing ovation to you. Awesome. So another Facebook user. Awesome. We've got Andrew tuning in live. Awesome. You must be up pretty late there. Oh no, you're probably just getting up in the morning because you're over on the other side of the pond. We've got Lamb. Good evening. How are you, sir? Aaron, midnight in Chicago. Laws of attraction. Look at this, what we are talking about. Awesome. Look at this, what we're talking about. Watching from UK, Kent. Ricky, good having a chat today with you, brother. Good to catch up. Who else we got here? I was actually about to watch one of Samuel's lives from the group and saw you went live. Well, appreciate you tuning in there, Aaron. Good to see you. David is tuning in right after midnight, tuning in. If you ever notice about Martin Luther King's dream when he went to Washington, D.C. to do his speech, his dream was so big that he did not have to invite people. They just came. Right there, guys. Okay, right there. This is what I'm talking about. Some tags there. Awesome. Appreciate that. Rhonda, how are you? Great to have you tuning in. So good to always be here. Awesome. Appreciate you, Chrissy. Another tag. Been up since 4 a.m. Or we just skipped there a beat there. Just hold on a sec. Okay. I want an amazing relationship with God, a happy marriage, a deep relationship with my 3 kids, financial freedom of $10,000 a month passive, and to travel all 193 countries in the world while building orphanages on all 7 continents. Okay. Now, before I go to the rest of the people, okay, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, Ricky, okay, but here's the problem right with this thing, okay? You've got to get congruent with how much things actually cost, okay? Now, I've told this story before, but I'm going to do this specifically for Ricky right now, is that when I was working with a public company as vice president of marketing, and at that time, this is probably 25 years ago, they were paying me $85,000 per year plus stock options. Okay. And I was on tour going through California, and they'd even just given me a pay raise. Okay. And I got into the office, and they came, the secretary comes in, I had my own private office, and they hand me a check, and I looked at it and I said, there's got to be a mistake. There's a mistake on my check. So I went and talked to the CEO, and I said, man, they made a mistake on my check. And he pulled me into the office and huddled in there. And, oh, come on, come on, Darren. No, we don't want to have a mistake on your check. Bob, yep. Darren says there's a mistake on his check. So they bring in the chief financial officer, and he goes and runs the numbers. He comes back. Nope, this is right. This is how much it is. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. So I went into my office and I shut the door. Then I sat down with the pen and paper and I wrote out every single thing that I needed to be in my preferred state of being. Okay. Now, and I'm not even talking about an extravagant lifestyle. And I'm certainly not talking about traveling around to 193 countries or building orphanages. Okay. You got to actually start doing some research and figure this stuff out, guys. Okay. There's massive power in this process. This totally changed my entire life. Okay. Now, what drove me to that point? What drove me to that point was my breaking point. Okay. I worked so hard and I was so pissed off that my check would have been scrunched down to minuscule peanuts that, and I wasn't even living an extravagant lifestyle. Okay. So I actually figured it out. Okay. Mortgage, car, insurance, cell phone, cable, internet, clothes to look half decently fashionable, going out with friends, being able to take like a really cool family vacation, right? Being able to max out my RRSPs. In Canada, we have RRSPs. Being able to have a little tiny bit left over that I could make some sort of an investment if somebody said, oh, Darren, I got the next Facebook. Oh, you got, oh, I'm telling you, I got the deal of a lifetime. This stock's going to go to the moon. Then this little tiny fractional piece left in order to even invest in something. Now, here's what people don't take into account. Taxes, okay? And Uncle Sam's always going to get paid. Okay, I'll tell you this for fact. Uncle Sam's getting paid, baby. And if you don't calculate this stuff out, like when you take into account that, at 10,000 a month, you're at 120, and then you take off the taxes, and you take the repurchasing tax, the sales tax, and this tax, and that tax, and, property tax, and all this rest of this stuff, you're left with peons left, literally. Okay. And what you thought was a half decent income with all of the stuff off the top ends up not even being enough to even survive on, to even be comfortable. Okay. So now keep in mind, this is 25 years ago that I did this task where I actually sat down and wrote it out to figure it out. And the minimum at that time that you needed to just get ahead, okay, was $130,000 a year. True story, guys. I actually went through the process and wrote it all out line by line. Okay. Now, when you're talking about the type of freedom lifestyle that you're talking about, Ricky, of 193 countries. Now, I can tell you this. If I'm going from here to visit Ari in Manila, and it's a 13 or 14-hour flight, and you can be rest assured I'm not going to be in cattle call. There's no way. It's too long of a trip, right? You got to be able to at least, stretch out your legs and be able to fly comfortably, especially if you're doing that type of a world tour with 193 countries. Okay. So, even at $100,000 a month, to be able to live that type of a jet set lifestyle. And now you're talking about 7 orphanages. Like, what does one orphanage cost? You got to know. You got to actually say, okay, well, how big is it? How big is it? I mean, how many rooms are in the thing? What is it going to actually cost per orphanage to actually build one? And then you're going to times that by 7. in the event that they're all going to be in the same location, it's critical that you go through this process. Critical. Because what happens is that your subconscious mind now is going to have all the data, okay, which is going to open up a gateway directly to be able to manifest. But in the event that you have no idea what the actual numbers are and what does each one of the airfares cost? Because I know that my trip to Manila, just the airfare cost $5,000. Okay. Now, if you're talking about going all around the world, right, you need way more money just to do that part. Never mind the building of an orphanage and 7 of them. I would just tell you, okay, take the time and figure this stuff out. Okay. It'll totally change your life. And you now have data. If you don't have data for this process, guys, you're hooped. And what happens is you're going to actually right out of the gate be self-sabotaging. And we already do that way too much already. The human brain's already programmed to self-destruct, in case you didn't know that. Okay. There's a glitch in the DNA, there's a glitch in the program, and human beings self-sabotage. Okay. Now, I don't know when on the scale that it will be for you that are tuning in here today, but I can tell you that this is fact. And all you got to do is look at Hollywood celebrities. They're a perfect indicator of what I'm talking about. So in the event that the amount of money that they make so far exceeds their self-worth, they completely implode. Completely. The whole reality will completely implode. And if you look at like even Demi Lovato, okay, she's a hit pop star. She's got her own television program. I mean, you would think, oh my God, like there's somebody that would be grateful for where they're at. And next thing you know, you find out that she is in the hospital overdosed from heroin. Okay, so Robin Williams committed suicide. You see what I'm saying? Kurt Cobain blew his head off, right? So you gotta realize that if you don't know that this stuff is real, okay, start doing some research on this topic. There's an entire chapter in Think and Grow Rich on self-sabotage, an entire chapter, okay, and you gotta dive deep in this to understand what are you going to do with this glitch in the program, okay, because it's not going away. If you're not on this path of personal development, you're hooped right out of the gate to be able to conquer all this stuff. And it can hit you in, so many different areas. It can hit you financially. It can hit you spiritually and emotionally. It can hit you in your relationships, in your marriage, right? It can hit you in health challenges. There's all sorts of different areas that you can get taken out of the game. Okay. And people don't do enough due diligence and start doing some research on, number one, finding out what things actually cost. Okay. Like in the event that you actually did want to do this circuit of 193 countries, you got to know what all these different airfares are going to cost you to go from each one of these places. And then where are you going to stay when you get there? Right? Because in the event that you have a freedom lifestyle, I don't think you're backpacking, right? So you got to take into account accommodations or bed and breakfast that you're going to stay at. And then you got food, and then you got your clothing expense. You got, gas or travel or rent a car or pedal mobile or a bicycle or moped or something. It all costs money, right? So really take the time to get through this and figure this stuff out. Straight talk, I know what I want, but I'm paralyzed with excuses. Truly, Rita, you know what it really stems down to? It stems down to self-love, okay? And you have to love yourself enough just to say no to suffering, right? You have to love yourself enough to raise your standards and then raise your standards, okay? And there's things that you can start to do. I mean, I talk about this a lot on, do you know that a lot of people will actually never go, like here in Vancouver, we've got a place called Holt Renfrew, Okay. And there's a men's store called Harry Rosen. And, you can go into that particular store and there's Tom Ford dress shirts for $650, right? For one shirt. Okay. But I can tell you that unless you've actually felt the difference of the thread count, right, on your body, you wouldn't even know. Oh, no, I'd never pay that. I'd never spend that much on a shirt. Okay. This one time, I just wanted to throw it out there this one time because I went down. I go on these exotic car runs all the time, and when my son used to come every summer, we would go on these exotic car runs. So we would go to Aston Martin, Lamborghini, McLaren, the Bentley dealership, the Porsche dealership, Ferrari, and we would go from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Okay. Now, some of the cars in there were worth $2 million. $2 million. Okay. The one was actually worth a 4 point something. It was a LaFerrari. But this one particular time, they had a Bugatti. Okay. A Bugatti. And it was just under 2 million for the Bugatti. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful car. It was literally like artwork that was sitting there in the showroom. So I start going around the car and taking these different angled pictures, the interior, and then they had the thing roped off, right? Had the lanyard all the way around it, and you couldn't actually sit in it, right? But you could, go close to it. And there's energy transference, just so you know, that comes from the cars. Okay, if you didn't know that, high thread count, high-end clothing, high-end shoes, watches, jewelry, anything that has attention to detail that's made by mankind has energy in it that will transfer over to your body in the event that you're around it. Okay. So I took these pictures and then I wrote a Facebook post, and the Facebook post said something like, do you feel worthy of driving a $2 million Bugatti? Do you feel worthy of that? Okay. Because I wanted to see what the data came back. I wanted to see what the response would be from the people. Okay. Now, here's the bizarre thing, guys. Bizarre is that a lot of the people that chimed in, they were almost angry. Okay, that just so you know, anger will repel abundance away from you. Anger, jealousy, resentment, like, oh, that guy's filthy rich. Like, what are the words that you say? Like, if you saw somebody drive up in a Bugatti, right? Would you light up like a Christmas tree? Right? Would the abundance emotion go through you? Or would you go, oh, I'll bet that guy, he probably got it given to him. I'll bet he's like a mafia guy. I'll bet he's a drug dealer, right? What goes through your mind when you see that? Or are you pissed off about it? That he's driving a $2 million car, right? But you like, oh, I can't believe he'd waste that amount of money. Okay. So these were some of the comments. I can't believe anybody would spend that on a car. What a waste, right? I would like, feed homeless people. Okay. Now, here's the interesting thing about that thought process is the person is looking at the 2 million like it's a cap zone. Okay. So they're looking at that 2 million of not being worthy or abundant enough to be higher than that. Because in the event that you were a billionaire or a multi-billionaire, you probably already donate hundreds of millions of dollars to charity and to give money away. And, so in perspective, what is the 2 million compared to 5 billion? Do you see what I'm saying? And as they're writing all of these comments, I'm thinking to myself, and I actually posted, I said, do you realize that you've literally put a blocker from anything happening in your reality that would ever propel you to the point of becoming a billionaire? Because you've already capped, right? You capped your self-worth. You've capped the abundance flow because your brain's not even thinking that big. You see what I'm saying? So you got to really take this stuff into consideration, guys. You know that a lot of people will not even go past the door to walk in to Louis Vuitton, the ladies. They'll never actually go into the store, and they'll just say, oh, I would never spend $10,000 on a purse. Have you ever actually even held one in your hand? Have you actually ever looked at the attention to detail and the quality? Have you ever put the watch on your wrist before you say I would never spend 30 or 40 grand on a watch? Because you've already capped your income. You've already capped abundance. You're the possibility of anything happening in your reality where you would to become, a billionaire is gone. You've taken that away from you. Do you see what I'm saying with this? So, Lena, how are you? Great to see you here. Eddie Mark says, boom. Blake, yo, what's up, what's up? Melanie, how are you? Great to see you here. Aaron says, I have a direction. Well, that is good news. Thumbs up from Eddie. Appreciate that. Where did we go? We just, something jumped up here. Okay, midnight in Minnesota. Been up since 4 a.m. Like last night, guys, I was doing Facebook Lives and I was working on a campaign and whatnot. And when I went to go to sleep and I turned over to look at the clock and it said 222, right? 222, right? It's kind of like the 11:11, but it was 222. And I went, oh, that's really interesting. And I kind of like got in such a deep sleep, right? If you've ever been in those type of dreams where like you're right in the dream, like I was in another reality in my dream. And when I woke up in the morning, I felt like all of a sudden I was like super refreshed. I thought, wow, this is great, right? But it was only 5:30. So I went to sleep at 2:22 and I woke up at 5:30 and just got back up and started the rest of my day and started doing some work and popped on Facebook and carried on with my day, right? So a lot of it actually has to do with vibrational resonance. Like Tony Robbins talks about this all the time in his seminars, right? On when you're in a peak performance zone, you actually only need 4 hours sleep. Okay. And in the event that you get it, it has to do with the vibration in your body. And within a 4-hour period of time, if you're in deep REM sleep, you can get enough sleep to get back and feel supercharged and get on with your day. Okay. A lot of people don't know this. So my point being here is that in the event that you listen to your body, okay, your body will tell you. Now, what I wanted to be able to do along this journey was to be able to go to sleep whenever I felt tired and get up whenever I felt rested, because that was what drove me to become an entrepreneur, was never having enough sleep, because I was working all-nighters, 1 hour sleep, 2 hours sleep, working for corporate America. And I used to hit the snooze button and I literally used to say, please God, I just need another hour of sleep, please. Okay. So that was my driver. Sleep was my driver. Okay. Now it's interesting when you're no longer in a situation where you're doing something that you don't like, right? Which is fighting traffic and, getting paid peanuts, working for a corporation that owns you, and you actually can do what you want, right? And you have your own time. It can be both good for you and it can also be bad for you because you're not reporting to anybody. So that's where you've got to be very, very driven, and you have to have the dream that you're so emotionally connected to, that the dream's pulling you, the dream's getting you up in the morning, the dream's driving you, right? So here's an example, okay? When we rolled out our Black Ops brand, and I had this vision that I wanted to be able to flip the numbers in the industry. So instead of them being a 97% failure rate, I wanted to try to flip it to see if I could get a 97% success rate. Okay. Well, if a person doesn't show up, they're hooked. You can't even help them with that. But if they actually show up, if they actually show up and they actually learn the skills, anybody could do this, right? We had a 15-year-old kid that made $7,000 his very first month at 15, right? So 17-year-old kid made $50,000 in 6 weeks. So it's not about age. It's not about whether or not you got money. It's not about whether or not you got kids, because Jennifer and Jose have 6. Do you see what I'm saying? So my question is your dream bigger than your excuse, or are you hiding in denial? Are you hiding in denial? Facebook user says, hello. 6:14 a.m. for Andrew. Great Friday to you. Yours there in BC, Canada. Ron Mayberry, how are you? Michael Dean, late night value, right on, my brother. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate you, Michael. Hey, great cut there on your new music that's coming out. I read one of your posts that said like you just started or something, and I was like, whoa, this guy's got some serious talent. Good job. Ricky says, go for it, bro. Put me on the spot. It's really for everybody. Yeah, it's the value, right? To help everybody to understand. They just came up on the note side panel. Stephen, welcome back, sir. Great to see you back. Adriana says, good evening. How are you? Taxes got 55% of me. There's the truth, guys. Right there. That is the truth. So $120,000 a year, when you really break it down, it's only around like, $5,000 a month. And I'm telling you, to live the type of lifestyle that you really want, a freedom lifestyle, okay, you cannot do it on $5,000 a month. Okay. Now, I can tell you though, as well, that in the event that you're kind of, you've got your homes taken care of, your cars are taken care of and whatnot. It's pretty tough to spend $20,000 a month. Okay. It is pretty tough. Okay. Keep in mind, like you're not going out and blowing money. I'm talking about like your basic needs and everything are all taken care of. And to actually spend $20,000 a month is pretty hard. Okay. Now I'm not talking about like just blowing, like, oh, I'm going to buy that $10,000 Louis Vuitton. I'm going to buy this thing for $25,000 or whatever. I'm just telling you that if you're just living in your preferred state, right? It's pretty darn tough to spend $20,000 a month regularly. Like you might be able to do it for 4 months in a row, but then, it kind of goes like, and then it kind of levels out. Okay. And I'm just telling you this from my own experience. Even when you've got millions, still it's tough to spend $20,000 a month unless you're blowing it. Okay. Unless you're going out buying Dom Perignon champagne and, you're just blowing money. Okay. So something to keep in mind, but I'm talking about 20,000 after taxes. Okay. After taxes, keep that in mind. I think I figured at one time that take home, I need 3 to 5K a month to move out of the basement and do business starting. Okay, cool. Good feedback, says Ricky. Awesome. Count the cost. Yes. I need $100,000 a month. Okay. Now here's the thing, guys. That's now starting to get into a zone. Now, Ricky, that would be lifestyle stuff. Okay. But I'm telling you, you better go down and do some research on the internet and figure out what even one orphanage is going to cost. Because I think what's going to happen is, and I don't know if you're thinking about doing these in the Philippines, and it depends on how large they are. And you got to also take into account the real estate, unless you've got some joint venture partnership or something with the government, they're going to provide you with the land and what the situation is. But you got to know what's the intention. Is the intention to do some sort of JV deal? Is the intention that you're going to fund this all? Is your intention that you're going to have some sort of nonprofit organization and you're going to go do a money raise? But unless you have all of the numbers figured out, right, you're not even going to be able to get investors into the deal, because they're going to want to see all that stuff structured out, right? With an executive summary and all your numbers crunched out and the whole vision of what you're going to do. That's what people actually invest into, especially people that have a lot of money, that are philanthropists, that want to support other causes. They still look for all the facts. So keep that in mind. I was thinking too small. Well, that's not true, Ricky. You were thinking big with your vision, but you were thinking small with the amount of money. Okay, because truth be known, at this particular juncture right now, you would be guessing. You would be completely guessing. You'd be guessing right now because you really don't know how much it actually costs, because you got to do the research. Okay, you got to do the research, guys. This is one of the reasons why I always tell my students, I say, they tell me how much money they want to make, and I say, well, what do you want the money for? Okay, typically it comes out like what Ricky said. So they give a number, but the other stuff that they're talking about, they want to retire their parents. They want to travel around the world. They want to get a Lambo. They want to have a mansion. They want multiple properties, not just one property. They want multiple properties. Okay. So because they've never actually figured it out. Okay. And what's going to happen is that you're going to now be in a tug of war with yourself, and your fear factor is going to go 100-fold, because your subconscious mind has no gateway. Your subconscious mind has no data to deal with. Okay, so you're always going to be in this anxiety zone because you're going to be in an internal tug of war. Once you have all the research done, the gateway opens, and now you can actually manifest it into the reality. Okay, because you've got a track now. This is actually way easier than people think. I did this with my budget, and it worked on a small scale. Time to do it on a bigger scale. Cool. I'm going to figure out the hard costs of the 7 orphanages. Good job. What book was that? I'm not too sure what part of that, because we've got so many comments that are coming in here right now. When you have the car you want debt-free, the home you want debt-free, and you're basically debt-free overall, making $10K a month. Well, $10K a month take home maybe will allow you to really live pretty large. Simply put, you don't have to be a multimillionaire to live like one. A really great guy named Darren Little taught me that. Well, that if you're taking taxes off of that, Ron, and now you're down to only $5,000 a month, you can't really, like one airfare ticket that to go from Vancouver to Manila, there's 5,000, right? So, you got, this is what I'm talking about. You got to figure this stuff out, guys. The internet is a great tool. Like, you can go to any travel thing. You can go onto different things. You can start to price out tickets. You can go on to Airbnbs. You can actually completely plan out a world tour and know exactly how much it would cost to fly around the world. And you can say, okay, over 10 years, I want to hit 193 countries. I'm going to do these amount of countries per year. And this is how much it's going to cost. And this is on my whole circuit. You can actually figure out the entire budget. I mean, what do you think that the managers and whatnot that do the tours for the rock stars, they got to know how much everything's going to cost and how much tickets need to be sold so that they can pay the expenses and what their profit margins are going to be, so they have actual targets, right? It's the same in every type of industry, guys. Very important to understand that. We got some, I've completed 81 of the 193 already. Okay, so now you're down to, what is that, 102? Yeah, you got 102 countries left. Awesome. So you still got to figure it out, brother. Okay. We got a tag. Awesome. Self-love. Yes. Raising my standards. Here's the interesting thing. Bob, appreciate you, brother. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Awesome. I haven't given up, just haven't really started. Okay. Well, today's a great day. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing, guys. This is what I'm talking about your dream. Do you actually have a dream? Okay. Because I'm going to tell you from, multiple different situations and rollouts and raising money and venture capital and taking companies public and keeping them private and doing another money raise, whatever, is this one thing, okay? People invest in vision. People invest in vision, okay? And they invest in personal power. Two things, okay? Vision, personal power. And this one particular time, I popped on one of these broadcasts this one time. I was doing a training session. And I set out with an intention to talk about a specific topic, right? Like I wrote a one-liner and then I went like, boom. And then I started doing the live, and all of a sudden some other energy force just went whoo, and took me on a completely, totally different topic. And I talked about how I came up with an idea, right? Created a brand around it, created an executive summary, and through that with the vision, actually went and recruited a high-level management team without paying them, okay? Recruited the whole high-level management team, got their resumes, put a whole package together, and then used that with no money to go raise millions of dollars, okay? So the money excuse is complete bullshit, okay? You're lying to yourself that it's the money thing, because it's not. The problem is you don't have a dream, and the dream doesn't have you, and it's not pulling you, because when you're so emotionally connected to your dream, you can literally go through a concrete wall. And I'm not joking, guys. This is the difference. It has to do with personal power, right? I used to sit down with people and, we'd be talking, and most of the conversation, quite frankly, was just, rapport and get to know them. We would laugh and tell stories and stuff. And, they'd say, Darren, tell me about your project. And I'd, talk a little bit about it and whatnot. And, I'd say, so tell me, Bob, based upon what you've seen and heard here, can you see an opportunity? And then I would just shut up. I would sit there. Sometimes I'd sit there for a full minute, right? And the person that talks first is the one that loses, right? So I would just sit there, totally silent, sit there. And they're thinking, right? They're thinking. You gotta let a person think. So the person will, I don't know, Darren, I'm not too sure. I don't know. I don't think so. Okay. Now what they're waiting for is for the personal power to flip right there. Okay. I don't know, Darren, I'm not too sure. And I said, you know what, Tom? You're going to remember sitting down with me today at this meeting. And you're going to look back on it. And you're going to see what happens. Because the last person that put $10,000 into one of my deals made $750,000. Now, I'm okay with it either way. But you're going to remember this meeting we had today. Mark my words. Checkbook would come out. They'd stroke me a check, $250,000, $500,000, whatever. But that's what they were waiting for. They were waiting to see if the personal power was going to go bam and turn on. And that's what people invest in. They invest in vision and they invest in personal power. Okay. So it has nothing to do with whether or not you have money or not to pursue your dream. Okay. Nothing, zero. Okay. So don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself, guys. True story. True story. Melanie, I don't know what that is, a little sideways laugh. Okay. So upset with myself. Don't be upset with yourself, Kelly. Don't beat yourself up. We already do enough of that as human beings, right? That's a glitch in the program. That's part of the human condition. Don't beat yourself up, okay? Today's a brand new day. Clean slate, right? The moment that you wake up in the morning, bam, you got a brand new day to tackle the world. But you got to be emotionally connected to your dream, okay? I want to show you guys, this is completely off topic, but this is what I stare at. Okay, this is what I stare at when I'm working. Okay, this is a 3-dimensional vision board. Okay, 3-dimensional vision board. I'm going to show you this. Okay, and it creates a gateway. It creates a gateway in the matrix. So you can see there that the car looks like it's going to drive right off the page, right? It's got all these gateways and stuff in it, right? Just this board, okay, from understanding how this whole process works and how to open up a gateway in the matrix. Just hold on a second. Just this board has made me 7 figures. This board, okay? And I can tell you that it's way easier. This is all way easier than people think. Way easier than people think. In fact, most people don't believe it could be easy, and that's the problem. Your belief is going to determine your results. Your belief is going to determine your results, right? So the whole process of manifestation is actually way easier than people think. But the problem is that they don't believe, or they don't feel worthy, they don't feel deserving, they don't love themselves enough to stop the suffering. That's where the problem is. That's what creates the blocker. Okay. What's this? We have to have discipline too. I accidentally manifest a massive $10,000 to $20,000 wardrobe because I addicted myself to expensive clothes. Haha, I enjoy them, but man, could I have used that dollars much better than I did. You know, and that's all part of the life lessons, James, right? You know, that's just part of the journey, right? But you know, you got to be able to at least get the lesson, right? So, like, you might handle the money differently now. Most people don't have a plan. That's where they fail. They fail to actually have an actual plan, and they lose the money, or they don't, you know, like start investing and you know, if they don't have the experience, then they got to consult with some experts. You know, like, should you put your what sort of stocks should you buy, if you buy any? You know, what about mutual funds? What about real estate? What about, you know, syndicated real estate? What's the areas where you're going to be able to get the most amount of gains? And are you prepared to be able to hold the money, right? And like not lose it is what I mean. You got to be investing in it. You got to keep the money flowing. But my point is it going to flow right out of your reality, or is it going to flow into investments that are going to start to increase in you know, price or value, so that your investments can start paying you money, right? That's what you ultimately want to be able to do, is have your investments paying you money. Okay. There's nothing that mankind has ever made or will make that you don't have a right to have and enjoy. So as long as you believe, you do. Exactly. What I typically say to people is start to do this on a regular basis, right? Like if you see something that, you know, like you see a car and it's like $500,000. There in Vancouver, there's like, it's ridiculous how much wealth is here. Like there's kids with a brand new learner's license, like it's got an N on it, which means a new driver. Okay, and they're driving a $750,000 Lamborghini SV. Okay, and a McLaren with, you know, like $500,000 McLaren. It's got an N on the back. I saw this one kid. He looked like he just got his learner's license, 16 years old. And he was driving a $450,000 Ferrari on the freeway. And he literally was holding on to the thing, was like scared for his life driving this Ferrari down the freeway, right? So there's a lot of that. But you've got to be able to look at it and then catch your thoughts when it's on the negative polarity side and flip it so that you say, you know what, I am worthy of that. I'm worthy of that. I'm worthy of that. Whatever you're seeing in the reality that you're coming in contact with, because if you don't feel worthy of it, a blocker pushing away the abundance from your reality. And I got news for you. That's a problemo. Okay. Major problemo. My son that's his dream and has been since he was 3. It's not a waste. Yeah, I got a passion for, but one of my favorite cars of all times is the Pagani, right? I mean, they're handcrafted, and I actually drove for over 3 hours one time just so I could touch the car because of the vibrational resonance that car holds. And it was about $3 million. It was a Pagani Huayra, right? So definitely, I feel you on that. You dropping the bombs, bro. Rick, appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. My wife is amazed. I have those lucid dreams every night, like movies. Cool. Great morning from Island Dorinda. What's going on? Good evening, Mark Presswood. How are you? Catching live, tuning in. Awesome. 97% success rate. I love it. Cool. Learn the skills and forget about the bills. You are correct. By the way, Mark Presswood, standing ovation. Mark Presswood right there. He's been tapping in Millionaire Mansion, closed a $700,000 deal. He's doing major flips, and now he's syndicating, and super proud of you, bro. Okay. But get your branding so it looks like a real estate guy. You know what I'm saying? We talked about that a bunch of times. Don Smith, how are you? Tuning in a lot. Wales, UK. Great to see you here. We've got responsibility spending from Mark. We've got, yes, I'm starting here in the Philippines. Awesome. Just get your price stuff worked out, Ricky, because you're going to open up a gateway. Your subconscious mind is going to have an actual, like a railway track at that point in time. And what that does is, like, here's the problem, guys. People have both a fear of success and a fear of failure simultaneously. So guess what happens? You're in an internal tug of war against yourself, right? Trying to fight this thing going in both directions, okay? Because there's no track. People don't know how, like, in the event they say, I'm going to do a 193 country tour. And then your subconscious mind's going like, whoa, hold on a sec. What is that going to cost? Right? But you got no data. You have no idea. Then you got the tug of war going on. I'm going to create a stronger vision, written step-by-step plan. Awesome. Mind blown. This is awesome. 10,000 a month is not a lot. Barely supports a kid with expensive sports habits. There you go. Okay. Read as a corporate executive. So, hear it right from the source. Okay. So, a lot of people don't figure this out, guys. Daddy Blogger World Tour. Awesome. Okay. Start now, Kelly, says Ricky. What's that? Aaron Notway. Okay. Are you on the call? Say hello to the gang. Okay. That's a little tag. Sunday is going to be a beautiful day this weekend. It is, because we're doing 3 straight hours of millionaire mentoring, talking about campaigns, baby. Campaigns. Wow. Thank you, Don. Appreciate you. You're anointed by God, bro. Appreciate that, Ricky. What do we got? Today I manifested $1,000 from an investor to build my special sauce because I didn't have the funds. I got into Super Sunday and bought another product. Awesome. Way to go, James. Way to go. If you want to if you want to get to 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, 8 figures and higher, guys, okay, you gotta be on the path of personal development. You gotta be. It's like mandatory. Okay. So in other words, if somebody says to me that their vision is to be a multimillionaire, and I say, have you walked on fire yet? And they go, no, I haven't. I go, book yourself into the fire walk ASAP, right? Because that opens up a gateway. So in the event that they go, oh, no, whoa, I'm too scared, okay, I can tell you they won't get to multiple 7 figures. They won't get there because they already are battling their own internal fear zone, which is a problem. If you ever want to get to that level of manifestation, you got to be in the no fear zone. It's mandatory. It's mandatory because a lot of the contacts that are going to be the people that are going to open up the gateway are going to require you just to reach out, touch base, say a quick hello, and sit and introduce yourself, or provide them with some type of value. And if you're too scared to go for your dream, you won't be able to do that. You won't be able to do that to go next level. This is fact, guys. This is fact. Okay, where did we last? We just jumped. Okay. Value time to step up my personal power. I would have to say you're correct. I've been in denial all this time. If you're saying that right now, James, then there's a high probability that you are correct, right? Me too, but I'm taking steps to fix it. Awesome. Way to go. Way to go. Don says, awesome. Love it, says Kelly. Love 3D infinite visual boards. I do a whole, process with Unleash the Alpha Within, the 5 steps to wealth creation. And I can tell you that there's something happens when your subconscious mind knows that you know the truth. Okay. There's other things that take over that will get you to your breakthrough. And it has to do with your Pandora blowing. Okay. Because this is where all the emotions are right here. This whole zone is where all your emotions are from your past, right here. Okay. In this zone. And what it does is it makes it start to go, and that's the gateway through the vortex, right? Is when the Pandora blows. It's emotional. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And I'm not going to tell you they're not going to bawl your eyes out because you are. Yeah, you know what I mean? But it's worth it. Love the vision board. I've never done one. Tag, thank you for the kind words, Darren. Got me a little emotional, bro. Truly appreciate it. I'm telling you, dude, you got some freaking talent going on there. Seriously. There's some things that are just natural, right? And when you're in the zone and you just, it's almost like you're being guided. You just go with the zone, and then it's kind of like a fire starts to burn, and then you pour gasoline on the fire, and gateway opens, and you'll start manifesting like crazy, because it's like your passion and your purpose. It's a combination between your passion and your purpose. And when you're in your passion and you're on your purpose, that's when you access universal abundance. Okay. Because it's like you're a chosen one. You're a chosen one. Aston Martin is my car. Interestingly enough, when I went down to the Mercedes dealership to take in my ML350 for service, I was talking to the lady there because I was looking at getting one. And she said, Darren, don't do it. I worked for Aston Martin. And she goes, the reason that I left was because I built relationships with these people, and they would come in and they would buy these cars, and the thing was always in the shop. And she goes, I felt so bad because, they got to import the parts, and then they got to go through, you got to wait for them to be flown in, and then they got to pay duty. And just the parts thing alone was just exorbitant. And then it's got to go, the thing was in the shop so much, she said, you're going to regret it. Okay. And that's why I ended up getting the AMG instead. And it kind of, when you're in it, it actually feels like you're super low in the thing, right? And it's really wide. You feel like you're actually driving an Aston Martin, but it's not. I wanted it to be a little bit more dependable, because it's my daily driver, right? And so I wanted to be a little bit more dependable on that. I'll catch the replay. I have to hop off, no problem. Massive value, thank you. Awesome, appreciate you. Way to go, Mark Presswood. Yes, yes. I have the internal tug of war, emotional fear, success, and fear simultaneously. Ricky, I'm telling you why that exists. Okay, it exists because your subconscious mind has no data, right? Once you do all the research and you figure out everything, how much everything costs, you figure out what the orphanages cost, you figure out what the 193 countries cost, you figure out what everything costs for you to be able to live comfortable, then the gateway opens so you can manifest. Thank you. We're working Zoom meetings. Good job. Thanks for this live, Darren. So needed this message. Thank you for being here today. Appreciate you. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. So somebody said to me this one, I did this video this one time with the radio voice, right? And somebody said, Darren, were you lip syncing? And I go, no, that was actually me. And they go, do that on a Facebook Live. Got to figure those taxes. Awesome stuff. Bet. I did the eating fire. Good job. Good job. No fear zone. What do we do to get in this zone? I recommend booking yourself into the Tony Robbins Fire Walk. Okay. You can also do the arrow, right? You basically you take an arrow and you sit it like this against your throat, against the wall, and then you focus on the arrow, and then you lunge forward into the arrow on the soft spot right here, okay, on your throat. And that's when you're really in your personal power. Okay, I did that, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 times when I was working with Dr. Dov Baron. That is life-changing. Okay, anything to do with fear busting. You can also jump out of a plane. That's a possibility with somebody that's a professional, obviously. But it's a great way to face your fears. Okay, we did that. We use companies to run the income streams through the company to pay taxes. Last thing, okay. Goosebumps right now. Wow, awesome. Way to go, way to go. Bro, I'm telling you what, get your butt into the Sunday event. No, I'm not kidding you. Because this goes for 3 hours when we're talking about campaigns, right? And when I start talking about quantum physics and manifestation and how this whole thing works, I get waves that go down my entire body and they go right through the portal, and then you get them on the other end. And you'll see what I'm talking about because you get the rush all the way down the back of your head. What happens in firewalking? Does that hurt? Can you injure yourself? Lena, if you get properly trained and you're coachable, then no, you will not get burnt, okay? But in the event that you do not follow the training and you're not in peak state prior to walking, is it possible to get burnt? Yes, it is possible to get burnt, okay? If you're not coachable, like we had this one time, there was like 2,500 people in Vancouver, and they specifically give you instructions. Don't look at the coals. Do not look at the coals, right? And there was 2,500 people that walked, except the guy that wasn't coachable. He looked at the freaking coals. You were told not to look at the coals. Why do you look at the coals? He couldn't do it. He couldn't break the pattern. He couldn't break it, right? So he never walked. One person. Damn, no James Bond for me. Well, you know what? In the event that first of all, the car itself is probably like brand new. She said, if you get a used one, you're going to regret it. You're going to have to spend another $50,000 on repairs and blah, blah, blah. So she said, the new ones, the only way to go, but they're like 300 and some odd $1,000 in Canada. And then as soon as it is in a couple years old, then, potentially I just listened to the sales rep. And, she seemed pretty genuine with her story. So, who knows? I mean, you don't really see a lot of them on the street. And maybe that's why. I don't know. I'd have to talk to a few more people about that or do more research on the internet to fully make a judgment call on that. Thank you, Darren, for the massive value of mentoring, value to all students, community. It's your passion for 30 years. Yes, it is. This is my passion, my friend. Great life. Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate you. The glass and the nails seem interesting too. I've done both of those. And actually the glass, because of our, there's a high probability at some point in time in your life, you've broken a glass or broken a bottle off your counter that's smashed in your kitchen, and you have cut your foot, okay, at some point in time in your life. And then when you're looking at a whole 12 feet of smashed bottles and you're going to walk across it in bare feet, you do go through a pretty major psychological barrier to overcome. What's your favorite color car? I love silver. The AMG is actually a gray, it's like a titanium grayish silvery color. I love it. I love it. I like cliff jumping, says Rita. Good job. If you're going to jump out of a plane, it's done best with a parachute. You're correct. Set the intention, get clear details, hire mentors. They shave decades off the learning curve. I agree with that. I just wanted to park it in my driveway. Thank you for the awesome training. You're welcome, Don. And thank you very much for kicking my butt again. Awesome. Okay, guys. So here's what's happening. Okay. In the event that you are in network marketing, affiliate marketing, MLM, and you want to be able to get to the top 10, okay, the top 10 with your particular company. It doesn't matter what you're marketing, guys. And this is the illusion that people have because they actually think that it has to do with the products, and it doesn't, okay? And I can tell you that it's different than corporate America. And this is the reason why the failure rate is so high in our particular industry, because it doesn't make sense to people from corporate America. They're talking about their antioxidants and the ORAC value and the patents and the trademarks and nobody cares, okay? They want the blueprint. They want to know, how do I make money from that weight loss? How do I make money from that antioxidant? How do I make money from the brain enhancement? How to make money from the energy drinks or the keto or whatever, okay? Your products have to work. They got to be competitively priced, and the compensation plan has to be fair. Once those three things are true, move those aside, because that's not what's going to turn you into a top recruiter, and it's not what's going to get you to the top of the leaderboards, okay? On Sunday, okay, at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, I am rolling out 3 straight hours to explain the concept of campaign development. How do you actually roll out a campaign so that you can get this energy force that goes like that? Okay, like that's how Ari and I put 6,000 people into a company in the first month. Okay, is through a campaign, right? So we just rolled out another campaign, and I wanted to show people how this can be done. So I started a business with $500. Okay, like everybody's got $500 type thing. And that business has already generated $17,000, and it's in momentum now. Okay, and it's that first cusp that you got to get into traction to get lift off in your business. And if you do not have enough front end inertia coming at this invisible barrier between the reality that you're in and the future reality that you want, you won't break through. You'll go, whoa, and then you'll fall back. You have to have inertia coming forward to go bam, and then you break through and you're on the other side, okay? And typically, a campaign is what does it, because you're dealing with a larger group of people, and then the people that are interested, they all come together in a huddle, and then they all get particular marching orders, and boom, and now you step into leadership. You gather groups of people together, you give them, you tell them what to do, you teach them the art of the connection, art of the invitation, and you as the leader know the process of how to roll out an actual launch, okay? And this is the difference, guys, between the big money earners and the no money earners, okay? So on Sunday, 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to be doing 3 straight hours where you're going to look over my shoulder, and I'm going to explain the psychology behind it. Like, how do you come up with an idea for a campaign, right? Like we did one, the one that we just rolled out was called Operation Liftoff, that particular campaign. And it was a good success. I've rolled out one campaign called Jurassic Income. Okay, that was a huge success. You know, some campaigns are going to be a massive hit. Some campaigns are going to be a total flop, but you got to be okay with that. That's called marketing. And you've got to be able to test, tweak. You know, you got to know, what do you do prior to even rolling out the campaign? Like, how do you get the interest and the excitement and the people to reach out, say, send me info, to be able to get that inertia to put together a launch, to hit the rocket and to get it into momentum, okay? So in the event that you want to be able to get into the top 10, I'm going to show you how I've been able to get to the top 1 in multiple different companies and multiple different times on the leaderboard. And once you understand this formula, It can work for anything, literally, right? Doesn't matter what you're marketing. Okay. If you're in anything that has to do with building out a team, either affiliate marketing, direct sales, network marketing, MLM, they're all basically the same. They're all leadership when you're building a team. And in the event that you want to be able to register for this, send me a message, okay, that says Super Sunday, okay, because that's what I call it, Super Sunday. It's called Top 10 Leaderboard. And I'm gonna help I'm gonna get into your head basically, and I'm gonna flip something in here where a light bulb goes on, and you go, OMG, why the heck did nobody teach me how this is actually done? It's way easier than you think, guys, okay? But the one by one thing is not going to give you inertia to be able to put your business into momentum. You have to have it starts with your personal power, okay? And whether or not you even believe this is even possible for you to get that type of thing and like that. It's like an explosion that goes off and then it goes viral. Okay, so in the event that you want to be able to get onto this webinar, send me a message that says Super Sunday, and I'll send you a link to the registration. It's called Top 10 Leaderboard. And I can tell you that the people that implement this strategy go right to the top, and it does not matter if they're brand new newbies. People think that you have to be a seasoned pro in order to get your business into traction, and it's an illusion. It's complete illusion. The problem is nobody ever actually taught them how to launch a business. That is the problem. Okay, that is the problem. Okay. Okay. Good work, my friend. Appreciate you, Ricky. It was great to connect today. Amazing value. Thank you. Thank you, Lena. You're awesome. Chrissy, massive value. Thank you. Appreciate you. You're awesome. Mark Presswood, super proud of you, bro. Michael Dean, I'll be there. Can't wait. Good to have you on board. Can't wait. Rita, awesome. Great to see you there. And Mark Presswood with another one of the blanks. Adios, amigo. Okay, guys, so thanks a lot for tuning in today. I appreciate you. Appreciate your time. My name is Darren Little from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. If you got some value from tonight's broadcast, throw me a comment down there below. If you feel that other people could get value from this broadcast, share it out with your team, share it out with your people. That's truly what our industry is really all about, is to help people to shift their mindset to actually step into their power and rise. Okay? Rise, guys. It's about rising the people. Okay, it's not about your income. It's about how many people can you rise to give wings. That is our industry. Okay, so if you got some value, throw me a comment. Super fired up, guys. You've got Darren Little here, and let's go get it. Have a good one. All the best.